So this one is about Jezebel versus Jacob's mother. So if you remember Jacob and Esau's mothers, they're very good in... She's the star of the story. The star isn't Jacob in that story. The star is the mother. The mother is the one that had the mastermind solution on how to fool the father into giving him the inheritance. She's the gold in this one. She's the one who you should pay attention to. But then there's Jezebel. Jezebel is Jacob's mother in the opposite direction. She's very crafty. She's very crafty in using her analytical mind. But the thing is, are you using it for good or are you using it for bad? And these two women are very similar in the Bible. They're very crafty. Jezebel and Jacob's mom. They know how to get what they want, but not by using hustle and bustle, but by using their analytical brains. You understand? They're the crafty mind. And one is just going in the opposite directions. They're polar opposite of each other. And if you could see in the Bible, of course, one dies by Jezebel, which is a spirit I should definitely talk about. Jezebel is basically the crafty, analytical spirit that tries to win over the 3D through negative craftiness. And you're not dependent upon the Lord, but you're dependent upon your crafty, analytical brain to get by introducing deceptive cunning tactics to get what you want in this world, rather than relying on your inner being to do the work, which is what you should be doing. And a lot of people do this, and their plan end up failing in the long run. These are like the scammers. You understand? The scammers will be considered the Jezebel. That's a Jezebel spirit. And the Bible basically uses that as an example of what not to do. If you're in this world using your analytical brain, those smart and intelligent, for deceptive gains, God is going to knock that shit down. You understand? The subconscious is going to create a way how that shit come back to you. So just don't do it. But then there's Jacob's mother, who uses her analytical brain for something positive. She closes her son into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That's what the story was trying to convey. So this is, for instance, let's say you want a certain car. So what you do is you go to the dealership and you rent that car for a day, trying to soak up all that feeling of having it. That way, in due time, after you give that car back, because it's only for a day, now you have something hard, a hard experience to go to visualize over and to feel internally, to feel. Now you have something tangible to actually bring that feeling of ownership up. So you soak yourself in that feeling because you've rented that car for a day, knowing that you want that car in the future, and you have that car now because you're visualizing it and you're soaking up that feeling of ownership, that's considered using your mind and craftiness towards something good. You understand? So that's actually a good thing. So there's two ways you could do this, and the Jezebel way is not the good way. And Jezebel died. I think Jehu came in the city, and he's just a man that he knows bullshit from non-bullshit. He saw Jezebel in the window, looked at her, and like his spirit alone was just upset at her that she jumped out the window, fell down to her death, and dogs ate her. So the story goes in the Bible. And the reason why Jezebel was such a and if you read in Revelation, God specifically brings up Jezebel. Hey, this I have against thee. You tolerate that woman Jezebel. Basically, he's telling you that in old days, in the last days, before the temple split, there's a lot of people that's doing the Jezebel thing. And they're creating craftiness out of fear. In the last days, there's a lot of us that's doing a lot of fear-based tactics, instead of assuming the wish fulfilled and letting God take care of it. A lot of us has that Jezebel spirit. And in Revelation, God specifically brought her up like, yo, some of you guys still have that Jezebel spirit, and this I have against you. Take care of that, handle that, and then maybe I'll bring on the split of the temple veil. You understand? So the thing is, you have to examine yourself, making sure that you are staying true to the faith, just as John says. This is that examination that God is trying to bring forth to you. Yo, examine yourself. Some of you guys still have that Jezebel spirit. So it's very sneaky, and you have to really examine yourself in making sure that that spirit is not contained in you, in which you're doing the same thing that she's doing or she has done. And just a quick rundown. Jezebel was trying to get this vineyard. She was trying to get the vineyard for her mate, which was a king. I think his name was Nahab, or it started with some N. But a vineyard is basically a vineyard is the same symbolic thing as a garden, something that you have to cultivate. It means it means an in-line mind, an in-tune mind to the I am, a very obedient mind. You understand? That's what a vineyard and a garden means. A mind that's cultivated, that's being watched over. It's basically a godly mind, and that's the when it says that she wanted the vineyard, that means that the devil wants to corrupt a godly mind, and this is what happens to our day-to-day basis. So she wanted that godly mind, that vineyard, from the king's neighbor. So there was a guy that had a vineyard, and the king wanted to buy that vineyard from him, but he said, nah, this is my vineyard. This was passed down. He's not selling it. So the king got mad and told Jezebel, and Jezebel was like, don't worry, I'll get it for you. So she creates a crafty situation in which she tried to get that vineyard, but it ended up failing. That ended up failing, and she ended up dying. But yeah, that's the story, guys. Just get real familiar with these things, and you'll know what to do and what not to do. But I gotta go. Frig, y'all.